The movie begins with two men, Leland Jones and William Billy Orser, staying in a remote rural motel somewhere in the Midwest of the United States. Early in the morning, they leave their room, and Leland heads to the reception area to check out. The process takes longer than expected, leaving Billy waiting outside. When Leland finally returns, he asks for water. However, the jug is empty, so Leland tells Billy to go inside and refill it from the motel's water cooler. Billy reluctantly complies. As Billy enters the motel, he notices something disturbing: the bodies of two staff members, lying in pools of blood. They've been brutally murdered. Despite the shocking sight, Billy remains eerily composed, showing no visible reaction. Suddenly, a young girl emerges from one of the rooms. She appears terrified, trembling as if she has witnessed something horrifying. At first, Billy quietly shushes her, trying not to draw attention. But his demeanor quickly shifts. Without any warning, he draws his gun, points it at the girl, and shoots her mercilessly. The scene transitions to a warm, domestic setting. A young girl named Sarah wakes up in the middle of the night, screaming after a nightmare about a monster. Her father, Tom Stahl, comes to her room to comfort her. Her older brother, Jack, soon enters the room, adding some humor to lighten the mood and cheer Sarah up. The family dynamic is established as loving and close-knit. Tom is portrayed as a kind and peaceful man who lives a simple, happy life with his wife, Eddie, and their two children, 16-year-old Jack and 10-year-old Sarah. Tom runs a small diner in their quiet town, while Eddie works as an attorney. The couple shares a deep bond, and their mutual affection for each other is evident. The story then shifts to Jack's school, where he participates in a baseball game. In a pivotal moment, Jack catches a fly ball, securing a victory for his team. However, Bobby Singer, a player from the opposing team and the school bully, is angered by Jack's success. After the game, Bobby confronts Jack in the locker room, attempting to provoke him into a fight. Bobby accuses Jack of acting superior and insists that they settle things physically. Jack, however, remains calm and dismisses the confrontation as pointless, stating that it was just a game and that Bobby is better than him. Bobby, unable to provoke Jack, leaves in frustration. Later that evening, Eddie picks up Tom from work and shares a romantic surprise she has planned. She explains that since they never experienced teenage love together, she wants to recreate the experience. The couple shares an intimate moment, reigniting the spark in their relationship. Meanwhile, Jack spends the evening with his girlfriend, chatting and smoking a joint on a quiet street. Bobby and his friend, driving around looking for trouble, spot Jack. They plan to humiliate him in front of his girlfriend. However, as they approach Jack, they almost collide with a pickup truck belonging to Leland and Billy. Bobby angrily flips them off but quickly retreats when he notices their intimidating expressions. Billy complains about the town, expressing his frustration, while Leland hints at a plan that will make his day. Leland and Billy then head to Tom's diner as it's about to close. They enter and demand coffee and pie. Tom explains that the diner is closed, but Leland insists, raising his voice and alarming the remaining patrons. To avoid further conflict, Tom reluctantly agrees to serve them. As his waitress, Charlotte, prepares to leave, Billy stops her, forces her into a chair, and begins harassing her. Sensing danger, Tom offers them all the money in the register. However, Leland reveals that they are not there for money but for business. He orders Billy to kill Charlotte. In a tense moment, Tom takes advantage of a distraction, throwing a pot of hot coffee into Leland's face. He quickly disarms Leland, retrieves the gun, and engages in a shootout. Tom kills Billy with 3 shots to the chest, sending him crashing through a glass door. Leland stabs Tom in the foot, but Tom retaliates by shooting him in the head. Both men die, and Charlotte is left shaken but unharmed. Tom's actions surprise everyone, including his family. The local media hails him as a hero, and his story makes front-page news. Tom, however, downplays his role, insisting he just got lucky and that anyone would have done the same. While his family is proud, Tom becomes uneasy with the attention, especially when a mysterious car is spotted near their home. A few days later, Three well-dressed men arrive at the diner. Their leader, Carl Fogarty, addresses Tom as Joey and claims to know him from Philadelphia. Tom denies any connection to the name, but Carl remains persistent. Eddie, overhearing their conversation, finds the men disturbing and calls the sheriff, Sam Carney. Sam warns the men to stay out of trouble, but they remain unfazed. Sam later informs Tom and Eddie that the men are linked to a Philadelphia crime family led by Richard Cusack. Though Tom reassures Eddie that he will protect their family, tensions rise when the men appear to approach their home. Tom rushes back in a panic, only to find Eddie armed and ready to defend their family. The incident leaves everyone shaken, and Jack begins to suspect that his father may be hiding something. Tom tells Jack the story and assures him that he will handle the situation, but his reassurances fail to ease Jack's concerns. Jack remains deeply worried about everything that's happening. Later that evening, Eddie is shopping at a local mall when she suddenly realizes her daughter has gone missing. Frantically searching, Eddie spots Carl Fogarty seated nearby, smiling at Sarah from a distance. She approaches him, and Carl strikes up a conversation. He suggests that Tom isn't who he pretends to be and urges Eddie to question him about Richie Cusack, whom Carl claims is Tom's brother. He taunts her further, implying that Tom's exceptional ability to kill is no accident and hints at their shared violent past, even recounting how Tom had once ripped out Carl's eye with barbed wire. Eddie defends her husband and warns Carl to stay away from her family, threatening to call the police. Meanwhile, at school, Jack is talking to his girlfriend, Judy, about the overwhelming strain his father is under after the recent violent incidents. Their conversation is interrupted by Bobby and his friend, who begin bullying Jack in front of Judy. They taunt him, comparing his father's bravery to Jack's perceived cowardice. Though Jack becomes visibly angry, he attempts to walk away. However, Bobby's friend stops him, and the taunts intensify. Pushed to his limit, Jack finally snaps, unleashing his rage on the bullies. He beats them severely, leaving everyone around him stunned. When Jack gets home, he and Tom argue about the fight at school. During their heated exchange, Jack mocks Tom, making a cutting remark about how he killed two men. This comment enrages Tom, who slaps Jack in response. Furious, Jack storms out of the house, leaving the family in turmoil. Later, Tom notices Carl's car parked outside their house. Sensing danger, he arms himself with a shotgun and goes to confront Carl. Carl demands that Tom, whom he refers to as Joey, put down the weapon and come with him to Philadelphia to meet Richie. Tom refuses, but the situation escalates when one of Carl's men steps out of the car, holding Jack hostage. Eddie is terrified and tries to run to her son, but Tom stops her, promising he will take care of everything. Reluctantly, Tom puts down his shotgun to secure Jack's release. Once Jack is safely back in the house, Tom defies Carl, refusing to go with him. The confrontation turns violent. Carl's men attack Tom, but he fights back with astonishing skill. He breaks one attacker's arm, strikes his face repeatedly, and shoots another gangster in the chest. Despite his injuries, Tom dispatches them with ruthless efficiency. However, Carl manages to shoot Tom in the shoulder, leaving him momentarily disarmed. Carl approaches the injured Tom, asking if he has any final words. Tom, glaring defiantly, says that he should have killed Carl back in Philadelphia. Unmoved, Carl prepares to finish him off, but before he can, Jack reappears with the shotgun and kills Carl. Stunned by what he has done, Jack is overcome with emotion. Tom takes the weapon from his son and comforts him. Though Tom reassures Jack, the moment underscores the darker, violent side of their family. Later, at the hospital, Eddie visits Tom, who is recovering from his injuries. She confronts him, demanding the truth about his past. Finally, Tom admits that he used to be a hitman for the mob and that his real name is Joey Cusack. He confesses that he left that life behind years ago after a violent conflict with Carl and reinvented himself as Tom Stahl. Eddie is devastated by this revelation. She struggles to reconcile the man she thought she knew with the violent killer he once was. Although heartbroken, Eddie defends Tom when their friend Sam visits, suspicious of the connection between Tom and Carl. Sam subtly hints that he knows Tom isn't being entirely honest. After Sam leaves, Eddie unleashes her anger, slapping Tom and yelling at him, calling him Joey with disgust. That night, Tom receives a phone call from Richie, who makes an implied threat, asking if Tom will come to him or if Richie has to come instead. Tom leaves the house at dawn, driving all day and night to Philadelphia. Upon arrival, he meets one of Richie's men, who escorts him to Richie's mansion. Richie greets Tom warmly at first but soon shifts to expressing anger over the chaos Joey caused before disappearing. Richie tells Tom that the only way to make amends is for him to die. Richie turns away as one of his men attempts to strangle Tom with a garrote. However, Tom anticipates the attack and kills the man, along with 2 other bodyguards, using his exceptional combat skills. Richie tries to kill Tom, firing several shots, but misses. In the ensuing chaos, Tom kills the last bodyguard and locks Richie in a room. Richie tries to escape, but Tom gains the upper hand, ultimately shooting Richie in the head and ending the confrontation. Exhausted and emotionally drained, Tom returns home 2 days later. He finds his family quietly sitting down for dinner. Sarah sets a place for him at the table, and the family sits in tense silence.